I'm late, had to come do the coffee talk a couple of minutes late, but here we are, and that's the good news. It's just 54 minutes past normal, but hopefully that's okay. Good morning to you, Wesh 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together just about 7 days a week at 8 a.m. There are some exceptions to the rule, but even when there are exceptions, we still try to do the things and try to do it as well as we can, enjoying our beautiful Central Florida weather. Hopefully, you're having a great start to the day. I can tell you, in terms of the forecast, it is absolutely beautiful outside. It's going to be absolutely beautiful outside today. And the next couple of days are looking gorgeous. So while I was driving over here, I came over to my mother and stepfather's house to do coffee talk. I'm going to go hang out with mom after coffee talk. But I wanted to take a little bit of a long range look because while weather's quiet, we know that it's not going to stay that way. And my chat with Jeremy Nelson just a few moments ago was kind of all about the parts of the weather pattern that are coming up here. So let's just dive in and kind of see where we're at. There's a live radar from a few seconds ago, of course, because your boy didn't get it restarted in time. All right, there we go. All right, downtown Orlando looking nice. Sometimes that tower cam wants to glitch. My bad. Whatever. All right, there's a quiet first warning live Doppler radar. Temperatures out the door are looking good. We have started to climb just a little bit. It's 66 degrees right now in Orlando, where it's 62 in Ocala. It is so pretty outside, isn't it? 58 in Titusville. You know you're feeling that great weather. 66 degrees in Daytona Beach. So even though it's 8:55 and we're almost to 9 a.m., we'll include that in the overall forecast package here. Upper 60s through the 9 o'clock hour. We'll work into the mid 70s, 11 o'clock, 80 degrees by 1 p.m., and we just keep going. Today, a little warmer than yesterday. Not much, but a little warmer than yesterday. It's going to be a very, very pretty morning, a pretty afternoon. This is the good stuff, friends. This is some of the last low humidity, comfortable afternoon, comfortably cool morning kind of setups. So yeah, we are looking good. We are looking good. Kurt says, "Hi Eric, hurricane season in July. What do you predict?" Couple things. Hurricane season starts in June, and we put out our hurricane forecast March the 1st. So there you go there. Wesh.com/hurricane. If you're curious about it, we'll of course, I always talk about this fun stuff. But if you're curious about our hurricane forecast, wesh.com/hurricane forecast. It almost always stays unchanged. We may tweak a couple of dates here or there. Hold on, I'm firing up my protein shake here. We may tweak a couple of dates here or there, but for the most part, what you see on March the 1st is what you get. Jeremy and I, on our phone conversation just a couple of moments ago, we were discussing, should we make a couple of date tweaks now that we've kind of seen things coming around? And to that point, there's another cycle that's about to recycle. So we'll have to, look and see if how those clues play out for us. So kind of interesting stuff. Either way, we'll keep you updated with full on transparency. We always do. Before we get into long range stuff, it's beautiful, but we had that big 3,000 acre controlled burn yesterday, and that has mucked up our air quality just a little bit. In Central Florida, we are typically really, really clear. We are typically in the green. This morning, we have a moderate air quality index. Okay, so it's at least worth mentioning. It's not a completely perfect setup. So if you are a more sensitive breather, asthma sufferer, or something to that effect, just keep this in mind. We are, we're still pretty okay, but it's definitely lower than normal. Now, if we were to be like up here in the Panhandle, Tallahassee is registering in a poor air quality index. So that's obviously not good. So in our area, though, sensitive breathers need to probably stay inside, just be on the safe side, okay? All right, so the forecast today looks great this morning. Here's a look at the high temperatures around Central Florida this afternoon. 84 degrees in the city, 70s to the lower 80s back over to the beaches. Air quality is a concern, but the humidity is looking very, very nice. And even the muggy meter over the next few days keeps things looking really good. By Saturday into Sunday, that humidity picks up just enough. It will be noticeable. Um, it's going to be a situation where it still feels good, but it's not as good. And you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Mickey's talking about wildfire smog. Well, if there's a temperature inversion upstairs, you can literally trap the smoke at this. The atmosphere almost puts like a cap over, a blanket over. So if you've got the, and we could look at a SKU-T to find it out, but essentially, and I don't want to waste too much time on coffee talk about it just because it's getting late, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, you get a little temperature inversion or something upstairs, it will literally limit where the smoke can go. And so it'll just be trapped at the surface here. And thus it can kind of adjust our air quality per se. You don't get it very often here at the surface, a lower air quality index, but it does happen. And so it's at least worth mentioning. Nikki says, won't be on tomorrow morning. Kiddo and I are taking a quick trip to New York City. That sounds like so much fun. I love that. Love that. Yeah. Janice, good morning to you. I didn't make it to the conference yesterday. Oh, you know what? We even have a graphic talking about this smoke explainer. Somebody did this. Don't know where this came from. But with that controlled burn yesterday, essentially, it as the smoke rises, it rises as long as the surrounding air is cooler. But the problem is if you have that temperature inversion layer upstairs, the smoke gets trapped at the surface. Huh, that's kind of a funny graphic. We definitely got this from our vendor, which is fine. It's totally like, you see that box, how it keeps animating? There's another animation. Like, you can very clearly tell whoever built this, and I don't know who it is, but whoever built this definitely didn't spend much time to make it look refined, but it gets the point across at least. So at any rate, that's that. Yeah, I didn't make it to the conference. I was doing WESH 2 News at noon yesterday, and then by the time that the shift ended, it was, yeah, it was just ran out of time, so that's okay. What are my thoughts on the new cone? Tony was talking about it last night on the live. Look, I mean, the idea is the National Hurricane Center is doing everything he can and they can to try and um, get better information out on one graphic. So, yeah, um, that's where they're at. Here's the graphic. I saw Manalfi built it yesterday. This is, just in kind of talking about it, it just puts more information on one graphic. The current cone on the left just does not include all that really changes is it's going to include all the inland watches and warnings, and it's all on one graphic. Now, for WESH, we've been able to do this from the beginning. I don't want to put everything on one graphic per se. I don't know, we may on social, but on TV, I don't know that it's the best idea. The experimental cone is just, their point is we'll put everything we can on one graphic. That way, if you look at one graphic, you'll know your threats. And maybe I do that on our social graphics. I don't know about the TV stuff. We're gonna, Tony and I have discussed going back and forth, and I think that it's just a matter of we need to figure out what direction to go with it. If I'm honest, nothing is set in stone on a WESH thing, but we'll work on it together and figure that out. Yeah, I can read it, but the color, I can, what is it? I can read it, but it's very busy, and I think that that's why our concern for it is there. We'll figure, the Hurricane Center's purpose is if there's one graphic you look at, they want to get all the information out, and that's why they're doing that. So maybe if I do social, I'll do it that way, but for TV, I don't think we'll do it that way. So yeah, yeah. Might have to look at that one graphic for a while though, and see that's the thing. I don't know. We're still discussing it internally to figure out what best to do, and we'll get there. Marie, have you updated your hurricane forecast? We've not. we talked about the potential of maybe tweaking a couple of dates. But yeah, we don't change much. If anything, it's just a kind of a tweaking of the dates. There's one part of the weather pattern that's coming up really big here in the next couple of weeks, and I'll discuss in a minute. Let's just first look and kind of get an idea of the 7-day forecast, and so we'll start there. Let's start with our 7-day forecast, and then we could expand on from there and look long range. So 7-day forecast, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Lots of sunshine, couple of clouds here or there. I mean, I'm looking up. I don't see any clouds where I'm at. I mean, it's an absolutely stunning day. Highs mid to upper 80s, morning lows. Little by little, the humidity's creeping up this weekend. Maybe a weak little front will come through on Sunday into Monday and kind of clear out a little bit. But either way, it looks okay. Looks like a really nice forecast, a mainly dry forecast, and can't really ask for much more than that. So we're looking good there. We're looking really good there. Okay. All right. Now let's do this. Let's go long range and get an idea of what's to come. All right. So we're looking at the GFS. High pressures looking good. High pressures looking good. What we're looking at, by the way, is mean sea level pressure anomaly. So the orange, high pressure, lovely weather. The blue colors there, that's more low pressure, okay? High pressure looking good. Let's just kind of come through time. The big part of the weather pattern that's coming through is going to be like May 8th, 9th, 10th. There's 7th, 8th, 9th. So we've kind of got a little front, 7th. You see the 7th there? This little storm system will really have to watch this one because this is going to be a pretty big part of that weather pattern sneaking through. And you see how there's low pressure kind of hanging out around South Florida? There's a reason for that. I'm curious to look at the GFS ensemble. Multi-member. I'm just curious. The 8th. So they're trying to sniff out. I'm just looking at the ensembles. It's just interesting. You know, I'm just curious to look at this and kind of see. They're trying to show some area of low pressure around the 9th. You see that around South Florida? That fits the pattern. So, that's interesting. Nothing set in stone, of course, but it's there's definitely, there's definitely going to be areas that we'll have to watch, right? Tropically. And to that point, by the way, let me dial up the tropical satellite. Let's see here. Does this loop? It does not. Hold on a second. Tropical. All right. Let me dial up tropical satellite here. Haven't done this in a minute, but I saw something on a satellite this morning that I wanted to mention. Oh, it's on hold on. It's on our test. Give me a second. Tropical A stat satellite. Let me turn this around. I used this scene to test out some of the cone stuff, and I need to turn that off. Windshield. Give me a second. Turn that off. Turn that on. Standby. Satellite. Standby. I saw this little thingy over here. Satellite. CONUS. Not CONUS. It needs to be goes east, northern hemisphere. And there. Okay. This is an actual live satellite image, okay? Scene camera. Fine. Okay. Save. Turn off the history line. All right, let me loop this. Give me a few seconds. We're making the Kool-Aid here, okay? All right. Y'all see this? Interesting little bugger there. Are my eyes fooling me? Do I see like a little wave trying to do its thing off the coast of Africa? Am I crazy? I'm not saying it's going to develop into a hurricane or anything, but like, hmm, what you doing out there? What you doing out there? Y'all see that too? Is it just me? Little blob of something. Again, I'm not like trying to hype this at all, but rather it caught my eye this morning when I was looking at all the data and I was like, well, that's peculiar. Let me take a look. Let's check the sea surface temperatures. Let's do all the things here. All right, hold on. Let me widen the map. Come all the way over here. Remember, 80 degrees is what you need for tropical development, okay? Let me just do save new scene. Let's familiarize ourselves with where we are here. So it's like south of Monrovia, okay? So we'll come back to this map. We'll let it load. There's just this data we've not gotten in forever. Oh, okay. So, interesting, huh? Water temperatures would suffice. What about Saharan dust? Let's take a gander. Let me move the map. There is Saharan dust in the area, but it's kind of out on the forward side of it, right? So, interesting. If nothing else, it's interesting. And I'm not showing this like to scare anybody, and certainly not to hype, but rather just to point out that like interesting. That's all. Just interesting. We're not to hurricane season yet, but interesting. And that's all that you should take it as is, huh, interesting. Chris says the Saharan air layer will take care of that development. I'm certainly not expecting this to become anything big and major, none of that. But interesting. Betsy says, morning, y'all. Thank you, Eric, for teaching this old grandma how to understand the Kool-Aid and learn about weather. Well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate that more than you know. Did I behave during the parent-teacher conference? Of course I behaved. Of course I behaved. And I got this beautiful packet from my son about all of his fun stuff that he's been working on in class. Yeah, it's been a whole process. So, yeah, you know, it's just I only present this to the court to present the idea that we are just mere weeks away from the start of hurricane season. Okay? That's all. Just mere weeks. And again, not to hype, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Just to point out, time is ticking. Before you know it, we'll have the rainy season going. We'll have all of the storms fired up in Central Florida. We'll have to start watching the tropics, and that's all. So that's all. Yep. Seriously? Yeah, I see that crap in the water temperatures. It is interesting. Not scary at all, but interesting nonetheless. Scott, what's up, big Scott? How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Is there a possibility that hurricane season could shift? You mean the dates? It's possible. They've talked about it. Hurricane Center starts issuing their outlooks um, May the 15th. So, yeah, listen, we'll watch it. I'll always keep you on and watch it, and we'll do everything we can just to keep you up to date. And that's my promise to you. I will always keep you up to date with the latest weather information and not hype it. We'll chat about it, and there won't be a worry. Not a worry in the world. Red is a good color. And oh, Tiffany, thank you very much. I appreciate it. What's the temps on our coast? Oh, at our beaches? Lower 70s, like right at the shoreline, Scott. Hold on. I'll dial it back up. Lower 70s right at the coast. Hold on. It's loading the graphic. Give it a second. Thinking. Bueller. Okay. All right. Let me move this over to Florida. Florida view. All right. So remember, the Gulf Stream off of our shoreline is the hottest water, and that's at 83. There's the loop current in the Gulf of Mexico at 85. But, you know, 80 degrees is your litmus. So you can see we're still borderline. We're not, we're not primed and ready yet. But during the, you know, like if you look at just the month of June when it comes to tropical stuff, all right, June development is always nearby because these are the areas that always warm up first. So, like the Caribbean is getting warm, the Gulf of Mexico is warm. Like we're getting there. We're getting there, and that's about the best I could say. We're getting there. So, yeah. May all Coffee Talk peeps have an awesome day. Be good. You think 20 to 26 name storms is possible? Aaron's asking. Well, Aaron, that's not what I'm forecasting, my friend. I've been forthcoming with my forecast, and if you've not read on my forecast, I of course invite you to check it out. This is my forecast. Okay, I'm calling for 16 to 20 name storms because remember, water temperatures do not alone develop systems. There are other things, and a part of what Jeremy and I did is we looked at analogs from other years. Okay, so I'm forecasting 16 to 20. Does that mean that we could get more? Absolutely. A forecast is a hypothesis, it's an educated guess. But for more information on it, feel free to head over to wesh.com/hurricane forecast and you'll get all the information that I put together for you. All right. Let's see here. 106 category 6 hurricanes. Yeah, exactly. Amiana, late is great. Good morning. Good morning to you. Campeche, Jessica. Sitting in my home office, staring out my window, wishing I was on the other side of the glass. I know, Kevin. I know. In a few minutes, I'm going to go and visit mom here. And then I got to get to the office. So we're just doing the things. We're just doing the things. Jamie says, I can't believe it's almost hurricane season. I know. And one of the things, Jeremy wanted to do a tracking the tropics. In early May just to kind of update things. And I thought that wasn't a bad idea. So, probably in early May, we'll put together another Tracking the Tropics broadcast, which, if you're unfamiliar, during hurricane season, Jeremy and I do in addition to Coffee Talk, we do a Tracking the Tropics on Tuesdays at, is it 9 a.m. or is it 10? I can't even remember what time it is. Is it 9 or is it 10? I think it's 10. I think. Could be 9. Help me remember. Whatever time we do it during hurricane season. Just chat about the kind of state of the tropics. But he had asked about doing, okay, it's 10 a.m. Thank you, Sonia, over on YouTube. So he had asked about doing one in early May to just kind of update everybody on how our forecast is playing out and all that fun stuff. So figure it's probably a good idea. A start of the season preview ahead of the start of the season, right? And then, of course, come June 1st, we'll do those weekly on Tuesdays more often if needed. And it's kind of interesting. I didn't know how it would work, but even during our like extended hurricane coverage at the TV station, Wesh allowed me off of TV to be able to do Tracking the Tropics on social. So yeah, so we'll continue that. So we're going to do one in early May. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns about things before I go run see mom and then get up to the office? Anything? Anything at all? Just a hint, nothing more, but just a hint. Aaron says, good morning, my first coffee talk. Aaron, good morning. I usually do it at 8 a.m. But super glad to have you. We try to have fun. We try to talk about weather. We absolutely do not hype here. We just have a conversation. Sometimes people troll, and then I become a real schmuck, but here we are. Here we are. All right. Jessica says, go see your mom. You got it. Thank you all so much. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Does that sound good? Thank you all so much. Take care. See y'all later. Bye.